Look, let's just be honest with ourselves. There's really no point in even getting worked up over this episode of SmackDown. It's not worth the energy. I probably will still yell about it because honestly, this episode was straight up trash. I shut it off an hour early. Didn't even make it to the end. That's how bad it was. And I can't stop thinking about Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, even though neither of them were the real focus. So, we get this promo. A jobber walks out and delivers some of the worst mic work I've heard in a while. I'm the nightmare now, Cody. I defended myself. You didn't want this, but I prayed for it. Like, what? It was nonsense. You're spreading yourself too thin. You can't stop thinking about Punk. Please, just stop. It was awful. What even happened in this episode that was remotely interesting or memorable? I didn't finish the show, sure, but I saw enough to know it was terrible. And let's be real, Triple H isn't even around right now. As I pointed out on Monday, the man's off on vacation somewhere with his family. TMZ even posted something about it. But whether he's here or not, it doesn't even matter. This product is garbage either way. You remember how things were when we were growing up? Or just a few generations ago? You had guys like Batista, Orton, Cena, Shawn Michaels, Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, Edge, Rey Mysterio. Those were the people headlining your shows. They brought energy. They mattered. Now, we open with Sami Zayn having a conversation with Solo Sikoa and Jefferson Kabathan about how to win back the US Championship. Who even cares? Who's excited for this? Seriously, are you hyped to watch Jeffrey Cobb take on Sami Zayn? Think about that. Batista used to main event with legends like The Undertaker. Now we're watching Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu against the MFT. None of it matters. It's just noise. This whole show is meaningless. The company clearly doesn't care anymore. Triple H doesn't care. DKO doesn't care. Nobody involved seems to be interested in producing compelling, creative TV. Every segment feels phoned in and soulless. They're predictable. You can call what's going to happen before it even unfolds. That kills any sense of suspense or excitement. There's zero creativity, zero nuance. Tiffany Stratton, she's still in the same tired feud with Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Backstage segments, tag matches, repeat. It's been going on forever and somehow it's still happening. And Cody Rhodes, the so-called full-time champion, didn't even show up tonight. He already took a 4 to 5 week break after WrestleMania, came back for a short run, and now he's off again. Storyline or not, I don't care. It's lazy. The whole thing is lazy. Honestly, I don't care what happens anymore. None of this means anything. No one in charge seems to care, and as a viewer, it's hard to keep pretending like we should either. Now, I will say there was one small bright spot. Carmelo had a segment that actually felt like a step in the right direction. It was refreshing. It had some potential. But outside of that, this show was dead, boring, repetitive, completely devoid of creativity. It's easily the worst wrestling program airing right now. And the wildest part, SmackDown has somehow managed to be worse than Raw, and Raw is already awful. At this point, I feel like this episode deserves the shortest review I've ever done. I didn't even watch the second half of the last hour, and I'm not going to. I'll just check the results online and move on. It's not worth revisiting. So, what did we actually open with? Sami Zayn comes out and gives this over-the-top promo where he thanks and praises Solo Sikoa. After spending months talking about the World Heavyweight Championship, now he wants to fight Solo for the US title. Then we get the inevitable brawl. Solo yells. Jacob Fatu joins in, and somehow the same guys who were all at odds a couple of months ago are now teaming up against the MFT. That's your main event, and I couldn't care less. Then we move on to Alexa Bliss versus Piper Niven. Alexa wins with a roll-up, classic, another post-match brawl. Again, it's the same thing every single week. At this point, I'm done wasting my time on this. Genuinely, this might be the worst episode of SmackDown I've ever seen. And that's saying something. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. That's me being real with you. Honestly, no one should spend more than 10 minutes talking about this episode. There was just nothing worth discussing. Genuinely, nothing happened. This episode will go down as one of the most forgettable SmackDowns ever. Hands down. After that forgettable start, we got a match with Carmelo Hayes and The Miz versus Freyem. And look, I actually enjoyed this one. Melo was in his hometown of Boston, and the crowd was really behind him. He got a solid reaction. Chants, pops, the whole deal. That was fun to see, and I'll give credit where it's due. You all know how I feel about Carmelo. I think he deserves way better booking, and I'm sure a lot of you agree. Seeing him out there getting a positive reaction and getting the pin on Miz was a good look. They clearly had Miz take the fall so Melo could come out looking strong, and honestly, it might help build more momentum for him moving forward. That was a step in the right direction. The match itself had some solid spots and was actually entertaining. One of the few bright moments of the night. Then we got a Drew McIntyre promo, and wow, was it rough. Normally, Drew delivers solid promos, but this one, completely lifeless. I almost fell asleep watching it. The crowd had no no energy, and it was painfully boring. This whole show was just dead. Drew kept repeating the same thing over and over, that he had to defend himself against Cody, that he didn't want to, but he had no choice. And he kept repeating that line, I had to, over and over again. No one cares. It was weak. And then he tried to say he's going to be Cody's nightmare if pushed. Okay, cool. Next. After that, I think we got DIY versus the Street Profits. Honestly, I didn't even care enough to check who won. We've seen this match like 50 times at this point. There's nothing new about it. Zero interest. Then we got Tiffany Stratton backstage in multiple segments, mostly the same recycled stuff she's been doing for what feels like a year now. Conversations with Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, and now Kiana James. There was some talk about getting a pink championship belt. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. And look, I have to ask, why is Tiffany being pushed so hard? She's not bad, but she's not that good either. She's held the title for over 200 days. And what has she really done with it? What great stories? What standout matches? Any unforgettable promos? Be honest, it's not there. And now we're talking about giving her a custom pink title? Come on. After that, I think we hit the main event, which just sums up the entire show. Sami Zayn, Jacob Fatu, and Jimmy Uso took on the MFT and won. And again, nobody cares. You've got people who are supposed to be rivals, like Sami and Fatu, suddenly teaming up. And everyone's suddenly obsessed with the US Championship. Solo, Fatu, Jimmy, Sami, all gunning for the same mid-card title. It's a mess. This whole show had no stars, no energy, no creativity, and no logical booking. It was just a string of predictable, lifeless segments. Nothing stood out, nothing mattered, and honestly, it wasn't even entertaining. I'd give this episode a solid -15 out of 10. No exaggeration, this is easily the worst episode of SmackDown I've ever seen. It was so bad that I don't even have the energy to rant about it the way I usually would. That's how drained it left me. Anyway, thanks for sticking around and watching this video. Hope you all have a phenomenal day. Peace out.